Number 9. Benoit Constant. In 2015, authorities in North Carolina arrested a man suspected of carrying out an armed robbery at the Carolinas Telco Federal Credit Union in Cornelius. In late December of the previous year, 28-year-old Benoit Constant, an African-American male, had entered the credit union wearing a lifelike silicone mask of an elderly white man. Constant held a bank teller at gunpoint while holding a bag for the cash in his other hand. At the time of the robbery, someone had called in a fake bomb threat at a YMCA on the other side of town, near Lake Norman. It was a diversion created by Constant's accomplice, later identified as a female relative of his named Miranda. The police probed surveillance footage and ran the plates of a silver minivan that had been spotted both near the YMCA and the targeted bank. The vehicle, operated by Miranda, was tracked to Maryland. About a week after the robbery, the police detained the woman, and a search of the minivan produced the mask as well as the striped bag that Constant had carried into the bank. In March of 2015, Constant was stopped by state troopers for a traffic violation in Texas. He gave law enforcement a fake name, but they quickly found he was wanted for robbery. Constant tried to flee on foot, but was apprehended and faced charges of robbery with a dangerous weapon, making a false bomb threat, evading arrest, and failure to identify. Number 8. Josh Palalin and Lia Say. In late April of 2021, 2 social media influencers were detained in a Bali immigration center following a stunt that involved one of them painting a surgical mask on her face, thus defying COVID-19 mask mandates in effect on the island at the time. YouTube prankster Josh Palalin, a Taiwanese passport holder, and Russian influencer Lia Say carried out the stunt at a supermarket. Lin had entered with a regular mask on, while Say only had face paint mimicking a mask. As they were filming inside, the pair expressed surprise at how real the disguise looked and how well it seemed to work in fooling others. They were eventually denied service and arrested. Once the video was uploaded on social media, users were outraged by the influencers' behavior, particularly since Indonesia was among the Southeast Asian countries which the coronavirus pandemic had hit the hardest. Lin and Say were detained with their passports seized by local authorities, and plans set in motion for them to be deported from the exotic island. They've since appeared in a video alongside members of their legal team, both wearing face masks, and apologized for their actions. Number 7. Conrad Stadirak. Through March and April of 2010, a man robbed 4 banks, a credit union, and a pharmacy in the Cincinnati area of Ohio, and made off with an estimated $15,000. An African-American male was arrested as a suspect based on photos from security cameras. Even his mother recognized him as the perpetrator from the images which had been released on the news. The girlfriend of Conrad Stadirak, a white man originally from Poland, saw the reports as well and alerted the authorities. She'd found 2 masks and money stained by dye used to track robbers in her boyfriend's possession. 30-year-old Stadirak was arrested at a hotel in suburban Springdale. To carry out the robbery, he'd used a high-end mask made to look and behave like real flesh and muscle, which produced an uncanny and unfortunate resemblance to the wrongfully accused man. Not only had the disguise fooled the man's own mother, but even witnesses from the scene of the crime pointed to him as the man who'd robbed them. Stadirak had evaded capture by taking off the disguise as he drove between targets. He accepted responsibility for his crimes and in January of 2011 was sentenced to 25 years in prison on 6 counts of aggravated robbery. SPFX Masks, a company based in Van Nuys, California, which had manufactured the disguise worn by Stadirak, commented on the incident. The company made it clear that they didn't condone any illegal activity, but the Ohio robberies hadn't been the first time that their lifelike masks had been used for criminal purposes, according to the authorities. Number 6. Asad Khan. Pakistani man Asad Khan was arrested on December 31st of 2020 after people in the Moti neighborhood of Peshawar complained about a man scaring children while wearing a wolf mask. He was allegedly making growling noises while riding around the neighborhood on his motorcycle. In what was viewed as a tongue-in-cheek remark, Khan claimed that he was wearing a mask as per the country's COVID-19 safety protocols. The journalists who covered the incident on Twitter also posted a photo of Khan in handcuffs as he stood next to two police officers while still wearing his wolf mask. As the post began circulating on social media, it received thousands of reactions. Some users quipped that Khan had mistaken New Year's Eve for Halloween, while others were quick to note that the government had never mentioned what type of masks citizens should wear, suggesting that Khan was technically not in the wrong. Other comments pointed to the irony of Khan having been arrested for wearing a mask, albeit an arguably inappropriate one, while the senior officer next to him in the picture didn't have the mandated mask on. Number 5. Sean Miller. In 2016, a 30-year-old fugitive used a lifelike old man mask to evade the authorities that were looking for him. In a joint local, state, and federal investigation, law enforcement had arrived at Sean Miller as a suspect in a large heroin trafficking operation. He was an alleged distributor for the Naughty Block street gang, responsible for a considerable portion of the heroin circulating in the Cape Cod area. The investigation had progressed slowly because the gang had kept a low profile by conducting their operations through disposable cars and safe houses. For weeks, the police had been staking out the home of Miller's mother and hadn't arrested the elderly man they'd seen on the premises. An agent then noticed that something was out of place with the man's eyes. The initial suspicion expanded when the police realized that he was carrying at least $10,000. Officers approached him and pulled off the disguise, revealing Miller. He was arrested and held without bail pending a court appearance. A search of the home uncovered nearly $30,000 in cash, as well as 2 loaded weapons hidden in a laundry basket. Number 4. Alicia Kittis. Alicia Kittis was arrested on September the 24th of 2020 at a Marietta Middle School football game in Logan, Ohio, following her refusal to wear a face mask in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic. An officer went up into the stands, approached the woman, and asked her to put on a mask, as required by the school's policy. Even though she had one in her possession, Kittis refused to use it, claiming that she had asthma. Kittis was repeatedly asked to abide by the rules, but she didn't do so. Consequently, she was told to leave the premises. That request also went unanswered, even though the officer had warned the woman that failure to comply would result in her being detained for trespassing. The officer then ordered Kittis to put her hands behind her back, but she struggled, screaming that she hadn't done anything criminal. In an effort to control the woman, the officer then used a taser on her. After being rendered cooperative by the electric shock, Kittis was escorted off the premises in handcuffs. Local law enforcement emphasized that she hadn't been arrested for not wearing a mask, but for repeatedly opposing the officer and not leaving the premises. A bystander recorded the interaction on their cell phone, and as news of the arrest began to circulate, Kittis was branded a Karen online. About a year after the incident, she pleaded no contest to resisting arrest and criminal trespassing, for which she was fined $200 and $150, respectively, in addition to being ordered to pay court costs. Number 3. Clauvino de Silva. In 2019, convicted drug boss Clauvino de Silva captured the attention of media outlets around the world after he'd tried to escape from a high-security prison in Rio de Janeiro, disguised as his daughter. 42-year-old de Silva, who was serving a sentence of over 70 years, had changed clothes with his daughter, Ana Gabrielle, during visiting hours. The 19-year-old remained behind and hid elsewhere in the Jeddah prison, while de Silva tried to sneak out, shielded by a group of female visitors. It's believed that one of them, who was with child, had snuck in a wig and silicone mask for de Silva to wear, knowing that pregnant women wouldn't be searched. The audacious plan would falter for the convict, who, also known as Baixinho or Shorty, was a leading figure of Red Command, one of Rio's largest criminal factions. His awkward movements, coupled with the others' attempts to obscure him from vision, made the guards instantly suspicious. De Silva was apprehended, and a video of him taking off the disguise in an interrogation room subsequently went viral. He first took off his glasses and a long black wig, revealing a lifelike and young-looking silicone mask, the features of which remained motionless as De Silva muttered from underneath, "I shouldn't have to take everything off." He was nonetheless ordered to proceed. He removed a grey hoodie, a pink Mickey Mouse shirt, and a black bra, before ultimately peeling off the mask as well. After the brazen jailbreak attempt, a decision was made to move De Silva to a different prison, but only a few days later he was found dead in his cell. He'd taken his own life by hanging himself with a bedsheet. Today's topic was requested by Baseball One. If you have any other topics you'd like to learn about, subscribe and let us know in the comments section below. Number 2. Ventura County robbery. 2 men were arrested in November 2019 as robbery suspects following an incident at a convenience store in Ventura County, California. The men had entered the store in the beach community of Silver Strand, wearing Halloween masks, with one of them dressed as the Joker. They threatened the clerk with a baseball bat, demanding cash, tobacco, alcohol, and lottery tickets. An off-duty parole officer was in the area and recorded the robbers driving off in a stolen vehicle. The police later tracked them down and served search warrants at both their residences. It was at one of the homes that they found material evidence of the convenience store robbery. They also arrested a teenage suspect believed to have assisted the other two. All 3 were reported as members of an Oxnard street gang. Number 1. Novacia Edwards. While wearing nun masks and associated habits, 2 robbers targeted a TCF bank in Palos Heights, Illinois, on May the 29th of 2011. Novacia Edwards, then in her 20s, had worked at the bank between July and November of 2010 before finding employment at a Chase bank. Outside of her work in financial institutions, Edwards did some modeling while also making appearances in X-rated videos and explicit photo shoots under the aliases Nikki Nicole, Mark, and others. While employed at Chase Bank, she was caught embezzling close to $20,000, which Edwards promised to repay. However, she had trouble coming up with the money and thus decided to rob her former workplace at TCF. She, along with her former paramour and partner in crime, Lyndon Gamel Wesley, were reportedly inspired to commit the robbery in nun costumes by the 2010 movie The Town, which they'd watched a few weeks prior. On a Sunday when only 2 workers were present inside, Wesley entered the bank armed with a BB gun, while Edwards carried a real pistol. The latter put the weapon to a teller's head and asked her to open several vaults. After stuffing around $100,000 in a duffel bag, she and Wesley restrained the teller and her supervisor with zip ties before fleeing. A crucial piece of evidence in the early stages of the investigation was the fact that Edwards had forced her access to all the vaults, but the one containing only coins, immediately pointing to an inside job. The purchase of the 2 nun masks and robes was subsequently traced back to a prepaid card that she'd purchased. Edwards was taken into custody in September of 2012. Followed by Wesley a month later. As part of a deal struck up with prosecutors, he testified against his former partner, and Edwards was sentenced to 7.5 years in prison. Thanks for watching. If you could choose anyone in the world as your romantic partner, but in doing so you'd have to wear a face mask for the rest of your life, would you do it? Let us know in the comments section below.